Thor Love and Thunder was very disappointing for a variety of reasons, but one of my personal gripes was how utterly wasted the Guardians of the Galaxy were. I was fully aware that our time with them was coming to a close, so it was very nice that we were getting an appearance in Thor and a holiday special to give us a little extra before the almighty Volume 3 hits theatres. How would their relationship with Thor change? What would this team look like in battle together? It was an exciting prospect. And then they showed up for like one action scene. Rocket and Groot were pivotal to Thor's arc in the Infinity Wars, but you wouldn't know it looking at this. Do Nebula and Drax even get a line? Maybe, like one? I can't remember them saying anything. Maybe they do. Mantis maybe had a line at the tree? It's pretty frustrating they got relegated to such a background role after that Endgame tease. It would be like leaving Sam and Bucky together in Endgame and then having the latter show up in Sam's show for 5 minutes before leaving to go do PTSD things. Once all was said and done, it became clear that they were just in the movie because of the decision to group them together in Endgame. It felt like they were a marketing ploy to help sell the movie, as they were featured in a ton of trailers and TV spots. In hindsight, would their role have been more of a nice surprise if we had no idea they were even in the film? Maybe, but I still think there's so much more you could have done with them because of the very nature of the Thor story you're adapting. I think part of the fun of a superhero universe is that you have characters who have unbridled power next to guys who use archaic weapons they have no business utilising in the 21st century.
The bow and arrow once was the pinnacle of weapons technology.
Yeah, but given the choice between the archer with the mohawk or one of the most powerful magic wielders on the planet, it's an easy call.
Most of the time you'll find that these characters never meet, I guess because they don't want the weaker character to look lame by comparison, but personally I think it's always an opportunity for high tension, and it can highlight what makes each character special beyond what they can do. That's why people like the idea of Batman facing Superman. They like the idea of David versus Goliath, that one man who faces an unstoppable force that dwarfs him in every way. That's also why Quantumania didn't really work, because Ant-Man never really has to take on Kang at full strength. His suit malfunctions rather conveniently, so that Scott and Kang can have a fist fight on an equal playing field. It could have gone down smoother if Scott was the cause of that malfunction, but it's pure happenstance.
You thought you could win.
Scott is frankly lucky that he didn't bump into Kang at full power because he would have vaporised him in seconds.
You know, you're pretty adorable when you get all fussy like that.
Enter Star-Lord, a character who James Gunn once said had the sole superpower of luck.
That's not a superpower.
Yeah, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is.
No, it isn't.
It is.
No, it isn't.
He has some gadgets and gizmos, but he's a relatively low-power character, which is what makes it doubly cool that he confronted Thanos and made light of his nutsack chin.
I'm gonna blow that nutsack of a chin right off.
Funny that the guy with the biggest brass balls in that scene is Quill himself, because holy shit, dude, you're about to get creamed if you're not careful.
I like you.
Enter Gorr.
How exciting!
The villain of Love and Thunder, wielder of the necrosword, able to go toe-to-toe with the mighty god of thunder and grab a hold of Stormbreaker without losing his marbles. There's no doubt that even the nerfed MCU version of the character is a force to be reckoned with. A fight between Quill and Gorr would be over in seconds, and probably wouldn't be very flashy. But here's the thing, these two should have totally come to blows in Love and Thunder, and I think there's one very particular reason as to why, which wasn't even mentioned. Quill could have and should have had at least some kind of interaction with Gorr. It would have been to the benefit of both characters, and I think it would have sold me on the team being in the movie in the first place.
Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Listen to these words. Ooh, child, things will get brighter someday. Dance off, bro. Me and you.
I once made a video about how Star-Lord was the ultimate underdog lead in the MCU. He wasn't educated, he didn't come from money, he was an urchin raised as a pirate with no prospects and no one thinking he would amount to much. In battle, he relies on his wits and his ingenuity with no powers to speak of.
Tell me where the girl is, or I swear to you, I'm gonna French fry this little freak.
What are you doing?
I'm distracting you big bitch.
Of course, people rightfully pointed out that he is half celestial, with the powers of a cosmic god
Small G, son.
and the sex appeal of Kurt Russell.
I got a penis.
But I still see him as an underdog, and I don't see him as a superpowered character, even if he's discovered those roots as far back as Volume 2.
I'm gonna make some weird shit.
The most important part of that fantastic movie is Peter's rejection of godhood. Peter would trade being unremarkable in order to save his friends in a heartbeat, something which Ego would never be able to understand.
What greater meaning can life possibly have to offer?
So whilst, yes, he is technically half celestial, his humble human origins are the part of him that lives on. He chooses the lives of the innocent across the universe over his own selfish gains.
If you kill me, you'll be just like everybody else.
What's so wrong with that?
Gorr's experience with a god was much the same as Quill's experience with his father. They witnessed cruel, self-serving, omnipotent characters show little care for anyone they consider beneath them. For Gorr, the result is blood-soaked revenge. He's tired of seeing gods cling to their power and status, willing to let others suffer in their name. He believes that all gods are this way, and across Love and Thunder, we're given cause to see why. And with Ego and Thanos, Peter can't really complain about Gorr's decision making.
So this is my vow. All gods will die.
No! But who is the one character in the Marvel Universe that had access to godly power and gave it up? The character who gave up their godhood, who just so happens to be partnered up with Thor at the beginning of the movie, off the back of a solid dynamic forged in the last two Avengers movies.
Of course. Of course.
Of course, Star-Lord is the character most poised to challenge Gorr's ethics. He's the one character, even more so than Jane or Thor, that could cause him to stop and think about his quest and whether or not it's right. It would be an opportunity to do something the source material did not, because this Star-Lord is very different to the comic book continuity, and the character didn't come close to the Thor run in the comics. So it would also be a way to honour the ethics of Gorr with a new perspective. We're at the end of the scene in Omnipotent City. Hundreds of bodies of gods lay scattered, Thor is severely beaten, both of them, and Gorr strides towards the axe in order to complete his plan. Yeah, the drawings this week are a bit goobery, apologies. Only Drax and Quill manage to make it to the site of Thor's battle, bloodied but still standing. First off, Drax steams at Gorr because he's fearless and a badass, and he doesn't get enough badass shit to do, so he steams at that right away. They throw down for a bit because Drax is nerfed in Infinity War, and so he gets an array of good slugs in on Gorr. It's about time. Gorr does, however, beat his ass to the ground when all is said and done. Quill comes to the defence of his friend, shooting Gorr with his quad blasters, to which he is invulnerable. Gorr is ready to cripple Peter Quill, but something takes him aback. The necrosword vibrates, whispering in Gorr's head. Confused, Gorr looks at Quill and states, "You're different." Gorr feels a unique kind of connection to Quill through the necrosword. He senses godhood, but what stands before him is a mortal man, as easily breakable as any other. Quill, with a wry smile, explains that his father was a god, but Gorr is unsatisfied, stating that he can tell the power once resided in him. He mocks Quill, begging to know for his own sense of self-satisfaction exactly how he lost his power. Was it stolen from another god? Did he gamble it away? Was the fight kicked out of him? The only possibilities in Gorr's mind involve Quill being a failure, unfit to wield that power in the first place. Drax, mortally wounded but still conscious, ever the bastion of honesty, exclaims through pained breath that Gorr is a fool. He tells of how Peter Quill saved everyone in the galaxy, everyone, by choosing to give up his power. He crushed his tyrannical father, saved his friends, and every single soul on this plane of existence. He didn't care about being above anybody else. Gorr is gobsmacked that a god would do something Selfless. Truly and utterly selfless, and all the while sacrificing every morsel of their power to do so. It flies in the face of his quest, and for a brief moment makes him question if his murderous spree has been just, if all the bodies he's piled up that day were truly the villains he thought they were, even if just one of them was somebody like Peter Quill and he had murdered them, would any of this still be worth it? Gorr shakes it off. He thinks that it is too late either way, and fights any more intrusive thinking. Thor witnesses this, and thinks that perhaps there is a chance Gorr could somehow listen to reason. Once Gorr learns of Quill's choice, he refuses to kill him. He is a man of his word. Quill, being Quill, he calls him a bag of dicks and attacks anyway, putting up a good fight with his superpower of luck, but ultimately being dispatched pretty quickly. Gorr keeps his word and delivers a non-lethal blow, which is the first time in the movie we've seen him do so. Especially after he laid waste to the gods in Omnipotent City in a bloodbath second act. Whilst Gorr goes on to continue his villainous deeds, Quill acts as the catalyst for the God Butcher's redemption. Thor is given the information he needs to make a case for the gods of the galaxy, and he knows now that there is still a heart left somewhere inside Gorr. He realises then that he is a man grieving the loss of his daughter, frustrated by the god who treated him so poorly. There's a chance the day can still be saved. So yeah, maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't, but I just feel like the fact that you'd have a character that gives up godhood next to a character that is pissed off at the gods for being so selfish and power hungry just begs for a scene with the two of them together. And it didn't happen. Okay. Predictably, the Guardians were in it for the first 20 minutes, basically a glorified cameo.
You must be so embarrassed!
James Gunn even admitted recently that he never would have put Thor in Guardians 3 if that had been the film to come out first. So I guess what we got in Love and Thunder was the best we were ever going to get. And that's a shame. Still, I'm mighty excited for Volume 3. It's around the corner, it's a James Gunn joint, it's got all the boys back together, and I think it's going to be a tearjerker.
We'll all fly away together, one last time.
Next week, I'll go through it and give a full comprehensive review. If you'd like to hear more from me, I had a very candid chat with Josh Carr of Who Knew on one of the latest episodes of his podcast. I talk about the past and future of Full Fat, what I've been up to, upcoming projects, and just generally shooting the shit, talking about Ryan Gosling and Doctor Who t-shirts. So go and check it out. The link will be in the description below. Thank you for watching. I haven't done a Patreon call out in quite a while now, mainly because I don't really offer any goodies on there anymore.
You want the goodies?
Welcome to the goodie room.
I'm very grateful to everyone who's donated or donates to this very day, and you help the channel even at times when the views aren't especially great. If you like what I do at Full Fat, you're a long-time viewer and you would like to see me continuing this, then I would really appreciate it if you considered joining any of the Patreon tiers. Contributing to the Patreon helps to keep the lights on at Full Fat HQ, aka my bedroom, and the more patrons I have, the easier it is for me to do more niche topics, less sponsored videos, and generally, honestly, make better videos, because sometimes when the views are on a dip, it is hard to get stuck in like usual, you know. It is just pretty disheartening. It's a weird one. Your enthusiasm lives or dies on how well it's going. Even if you felt like contributing $1, that would be another sweet note in my candy G-string. So please head on over to patreon.com/fullfatvideos and see what you think. Thank you very, very much.
Dude!
A big thank you to my Full Fat tier patron, Dr. Chike, and Nathan Shaw. If you'd like to donate money to my Patreon, you can find me at patreon.com/fullfatvideos. If you'd like to find me on Instagram, you can find me at full_fat_videos. And if you'd like to find me on Twitter, you can find me at fullfatvideos.